boys and girls, students of Buddhist Sunday School, Dhamma classes, parents, grandparents, and teachers of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. We are going to have a presentation of another moral story that can teach us important life lessons. This story is titled The Farmer and His Sons. It is quite a well-known story. Some of you might have heard before, but we will go over this story to point out to you the important life lessons or Dhamma teachings. Now, the presentation are in English and the texts are in English and Malay. Now, we are going to go over each of the slides and the story will unfold as we go through the slides. And then at the end of the story, we are going to discuss very important moral lessons, or you can say also Dhamma teachings. So now, as usual, we will launch the PowerPoint. So it's the slideshow from the beginning. Now you can see the cover slide. There's the farmer and his 3 sons. And as I said, this story has a good moral. And in Malay, it's petani dan anak-anak lelakinya actually. Kisah yang bermoral. Now, let me take off the video first. Okay, so now let us go on to the start of the story. That is the first or second slide actually, but the start of the story. Once upon a time, there lived a farmer in a village. He was very hard-working. He had made good fortune with great toil and sweat over the years. So you can imagine a long time ago in a small village, there was this farmer who was very diligent, very hardworking. And because of his hard work, he had made some good money due to his diligence, with great sweat and toil, right? So not an easy type of work to farm and then to grow the crops, take care of the crops, harvest the crops, and probably in the farm also he might rear some domestic animals like chickens or goats and so on. He was doing all this quite alone. He had 3 sons, and all the sons probably, teenagers lah. They all were strong and healthy, but they were very lazy. They would spend their time sleeping, eating, and playing, not helping the father. It's terrible, isn't it? The story did not say whether the mother was around or not. So imagine 3 lazy sons not helping the father to do the work in the farm. So much work to do, but they were very lazy people. Now let us see the consequence later on. Now the pictures give you a better idea of the flow of the story. Now this was the diligent farmer, very hardworking. Under the sun also you will work and sweating all over, right? Now here again also shows probably might be planting some maybe even rice or paddy possible, or some other types of crops or even vegetables or fruits also. Now, you see these 3 sons, these are all just pictures. They don't look so decent, probably. And, this one just show one of them. 3 of them also like that, like to sleep, play, and eat. Eat, sleep, and play. Oh, terrible. Probably the father also would tell them advice, but then sometimes, they would not want to obey and follow. So, not easy. Now, let us go on to slide number 3 now. This worried the farmer a lot. As time went by, the farmer grew old and fell sick, but his son still spent time sleeping, eating, and playing. It's terrible, isn't it? So the years passed, probably a few years passed, and the son still remained lazy as ever. And of course, the farmer grew old, and one day he fell sick, right? He was working very hard, but he did not say in the story how old he was when he got sick. Still, the son, kept on the bad habits. They have this terrible habit of being lazy, not wanting to do work. So the farmer was getting worried, became more and more anxious about it. So he would be thinking, you can see him lying on the bed sick. He wanted his sons to take care of his field as he had done so all the years through, because he was hardworking, so he did very good work on the fields, farming, and then he could amass or he could get some wealth, to save some money and so on. So then he was thinking, what would happen after I pass away? These 3 lazy sons of mine, if they would not do the work in the fields, then they would face a lot of problems. They would not be able to earn a living also. So those were the thoughts that crossed this farmer's mind. This just shows that these 3 sons, I just put an image to show they like to play. Now, let us go on to slide number 4. Slide number 4. One day, he called his sons to his bedside and said, probably his sickness was getting worse already, right? So he had to tell the sons certain things, the last words before he passed away. So what did he tell the sons? My dear sons, before long, I will be dead and gone. I had been worried about you 3 young men. How would you earn a living? I have hidden a great treasure in one of my fields, the one nearest to our home. This is to make sure that you 3 will never go hungry after I am gone. Wow, such a good old man. Even though the sons were lazy and not very grateful also to the father, but yet he loved the sons and told the sons about the treasure that he had hidden in one of his fields. Probably he had a few plots of fields, the one nearest to his home. So he said he had hidden in that field a treasure. Of course, the story did not say what was the treasure, but you can imagine a treasure would contain valuable things, right? Because as I said, right, over the years, because of his hard work and the thought and sweat, so he saved up some money and maybe bought some gold, right, jewelry or whatever. So very expensive things. This one just to illustrate, the sons who were listening carefully, so they had in their minds, wow, treasure, lot of money, lot of maybe gold and diamonds. So he told the 3 sons, this would make sure that you would have money to spend. You would not go hungry. You could still get food after I'm gone. So this was the message. And this is just to show the old man was quite sad, crying. Now let us go on to slide number 5. After a few days, the farmer died. he was sick, isn't it, right? So the sons, well, they felt some sadness because the father had been taking care of them. The father had been doing all the farming work and also looking after the house because nothing was mentioned of the mother. So probably the mother might have passed away or things like that lah. But after the father had passed away, these three sons were still as lazy as ever, did not want to tend to the fields, right? Did not want to tend to the growing crops. They just used the money left behind found in the house one. But then, all these will be used up, isn't it? So in time, there was very little money left already for them to spend. Then they started thinking, oh, now what to do? We don't have the money to survive already. How to get the food? How to enjoy ourselves in certain ways in the town? You need money to spend to enjoy yourselves, to go to town also, and then to buy the clothes and so on. And it was then the sons decided to search for that treasure which their father had told them about. And they remembered. They talk among themselves. They say, Father told us about a treasure that he had hidden in the field nearest our home. So there must be a lot of precious things there and we could sell and we'll be very rich. But he did not tell us exactly where the treasure was buried. You see, and now the field was quite large. So what should we do? So they were discussing among themselves to try to get at the treasure. So now, interesting question. Did they find the treasure? And did they change their habit of being lazy? And what was the treasure? So you would like to know what actually happened. So now we need to go to slide number 6 now to continue the story. Now let us go on to slide number 6. So what did they do? Buried in one of the fields, and that was the one nearest, quite a big field also. So they had to use all the farming tools lah, like spades lah, hoes lah, like the jangkul lah, hoes lah, and then probably also the rake and the mattocks. Mattocks will be something, a tool where you use to dig, you can dig. They need to dig holes, isn't it, to find the treasure buried under the soil, isn't it? So they need to do all this. You could see here, using all the farming tools, the jangkul lah, the spade lah, and then the rake lah. So many types of farming tools, right? Because the father was a farmer, so he had all this. So they started to work at digging and digging and digging, every part of the field. They began to dig and dig, very tired, but nothing they could find. They found nothing. So they were very disappointed, very tired also after having dug the whole plot already, and still no sign of the treasure, maybe the treasure chests, treasure box. So it was quite tiring. So what the three of them did was to sit under one of the trees there, sat down in despair. They were very tired. Despair would mean that, they were feeling very disappointed, losing hope already, and you have the feelings of sadness, disappointment, frustration, and so on. So just sitting there, maybe also some anger, apart from being sad, disappointed, and losing hope, what to do now, things like that lah. And just then, a monk was passing by. And these monks, they will go around with their arms full, begging for food. They will probably eat once a day. So probably it was near noon. The three of them started work early in the morning, right? Very early. So after so many hours, no sign at all of the treasure. So the monk was passing, and he saw the sons of the farmer sitting in despair. Right? So he could sense that they were feeling like hopeless already, right? Frustrated, feeling very sad, disappointed, all those negative states of mind. So what did the monk say to them? So let us look at slide number 7. So the monk asked them what the matter was that made them have looks of despair, as if life is so difficult, they want to give up already, give up on life or something like that. That sort of a feeling. The monk asked, very compassionate, gentle, full of metta, why are you guys so frustrated and disappointed? The monk asked. So then the farmer's sons told the monk all that had happened and why they were digging so hard. So, of course, probably they would not tell the monk they were lazy, that they did not help the father all the years. Probably they did not say. They just say that the father fell sick, maybe some days ago, or no, maybe even some weeks ago already, because they had used up basically all the money. So probably a few weeks already. So mentioned the father was sick, and then the father called them and told them that he had hidden a treasure in the field. That was the field nearest to their home. But the monk probably had some psychic powers. It took only a short time only for the monk to understand the whole thing, what actually happened. So the monk was wise, right? Intelligent, could guess really what happened. Probably the father did not bury a treasure, wanted them to learn a lesson, but did not tell them yet, right? So he could sense. So he was trying to help them, and he could sense that they were lazy young men. That was this point. So I just put in some animated cartoon images here to show, the feeling of despair, sadness, and maybe also like giving up already, things like that, all those feelings. Now let us go on to slide number 8. Slide number 8. Let's look at this. Then the monk, after having heard what the 3 sons had said about the circumstances, right, of the father's death, and then why they were digging, then the monk said to the 3 sons, look, you have dug up the whole field in search of the treasure, but the treasure still needs to be found. They have dug up practically the whole plot of land already, hours of work, the 3 of them, digging all over already. So then the monk said, well, you could see there was no treasure, but you had dug quite well all over. So why don't you sow some seeds, or in other words, to plant, to grow some crops, to plant some seeds in this field now? All your digging has broken up and loosened, the soil. And your field now is now very good and suitable for sowing seeds. I think you know that if you want to be successful in planting crops, you have to prepare the soil or the ground, isn't it? If the soil is very hard and all stuck together, not loosened up, then you find you cannot just simply put the seed there and then plant. It will not grow. Probably there will not be enough air and all those things. So that's why you see that people doing the plowing, isn't it, before they start planting. Now you have machinery, tractors and all types of machines to help. Those days you have to use manual work. they would use maybe bulls or cows to pull certain gadgets to help to plow the field. Then only the ground or the soil will be ready for planting or sowing the seeds. So the monk explained to them, now your field is very good, just right for sowing seeds that could grow into very, very good plants or fruit trees or vegetables, or flowers also. So the monk gave them very good ideas. Right. So what to do? They did not find the treasure ready, right? So actually the monk was asking them to plant. Of course, you plant seeds, and sometimes after the seeds have grown in certain place, you can transfer them into another area or things like that. So let us now go on to slide number 9 now. So the farmer's sons accepted the suggestion of the monk. Actually, what to do? Well, they did not find the treasure already, and they were thinking that these monks, actually they respected the monks because the monks have the qualities of wisdom, compassion, love, and so on. So they heeded the advice of the monks. So what they did was, probably they still had some money, a little left only lah. So they went to nearby town, right, to get, or they had available maybe still some plants. So they got the seeds of some vegetables, fruits, flowers, and other crops. Some already available, right? Still left behind, maybe some flowering plants. They gave them some seeds, but now the flowering plants already old, would decay and die already, but the seeds still left behind. So whatever, they managed to get the seeds. No mention as to what they grew, but you could picture maybe papaya seeds or some lovely flowers which could be sold in the market, and then some vegetables which could grow very fast also, like beans, tauge, and then also some other peas and so on. And then also various type of fruit trees also. Some would take longer to grow, some would take a shorter time. So they sow them in the field, these seeds. You can see here, right? Putting the seeds and but the soil all have been dug properly, right? So very nice to work with could be very much easier already, loosened already, isn't it? So they could bury the soil, and then of course they had to water them also So actually, they sow the seeds in the field that they had actually plowed through already. But when they did that, it was not their aim to grow the seeds. The aim was to find the treasure. But that process would produce that situation where the land or the soil will be like as if plowed already. The soil all loosened up already, quite ready for planting the seeds. So that's what they did. They planted a number of things. After all, they were so free, nothing to do. Now, all these are just to show the animated images, right? The animated images. And after a few days, it rained. Of course, if the weather is very, very dry for a long time, it's quite difficult for crops to grow, the plants. But just a few days later, the rain came and it was good. So, for the seeds to grow, what would be needed? Water, right? And then also sunlight, right? So there were times where the sun came out, and then also maybe they had some manure, fertilizers. Maybe those days they would not go and buy the artificial fertilizers. They would probably they still had some of those domestic animals who collected their shit and then also use this was my addition. Then, because of the good conditions, the seeds began to sprout. This is an animated one. So very cute, huh? The seeds will grow into flowering plants or vegetables or for certain types of fruits, maybe faster lah. Anyway, just to give you the idea of the seeds sprouting, coming out as, young plants, and then will grow up, and then will bear the fruits lah, will bear the flowers lah. And the vegetables ready to be harvested and so on. So that's a miracle of growth of the plants and the trees and so on, and the flowering plants. So let us see now what happens. Of course, the monk lab on his wrong. Monks go wandering and they would not stay in one spot. So after having advised them, the monk left already. So now these three young men, so what happened to them? Let us go on now to slide number 10. So before long, the three sons were rewarded with bountiful crops in the field, vegetables, flowers, corn, there's jagung, maize, and then even some fruits. Of course, some fruits would take longer, but some faster, a few weeks you could get. So gradually over the period of time, they could see the beautiful, bountiful crops all coming out. No, of course here it's just to show you so many possibilities, ranging from flowers to vegetables to fruits. These are just to get you the idea. And then this one will show maybe the maize plants, jagung or things like that. Because the plot was quite large, so they could plant various things. Wow, probably now they began to realize the wonders of their planting, and they were quite happy. All the while I let the father do all the things and they just continue playing. But now they learn important lessons already. So the sons were quite happy and delighted to see the crops swinging in the wind beneath their feet. Like for example, maybe they grew some paddy also, right? Of corn. See, so some of the leaves of the plants will sway with the wind blowing, isn't it? All right. And then the other flowering plants also would sway. So it was a beautiful thing, and they were very happy. And now the sons, they would think also, isn't it? They realize what the hidden treasure was in their field. They realized that there was actually no hidden treasure in the field. But the father wanted to teach them a very important life lesson. And that was to be hardworking, to work at certain things, and then you will get the treasure. And the treasure here, in this case, you see, wow, fantastic, bountiful crops that could turn into money in the sense that they could sell this, isn't it? So the three of them said to each other, they say, this is the treasure our father wanted us to find. There was actually no hidden treasure. Our father wanted us to dig and dig to plow the soil, ready for planting the seeds that will give us fantastic crops that we could sell and get the money. So they thought back about the father. So probably they regretted that he did not help, but they changed. They changed already. They would not want to be like those days already, lazy, sleeping, eating, and playing only. So, of course, now maybe they were a bit older already. So they learned that lesson and they could now really harvest the crops. Very, very important, isn't it? So now, by the way, these actually are just pictures that don't show really great accuracy because they were modern young men. Actually, probably those days, Indian youths, they would dress in a very simple form of things like. But actually, it does not matter. I just want to let you have an idea to get at the pictures. So now let us go on to slide number 11. Right? Slide number 11. From that day onwards, the three sons were no longer lazy. That's something very, very good, isn't it? Right? They changed. Probably they knew that they were wrong. They realized it already. And they started working very hard. So from laziness to diligence, you know. So, like this, I picked these four to show they're working very, very hard, And don't forget, there were other plots of land also, a few other plots maybe. So they could also work on the other plots of land, apart from the one nearest to the home. So imagine, you have vast area of the land for cultivation of various types of crops, ranging from paddy maize with certain areas they could even plant flowers, because the flowers also could be sold in the market, isn't it? And then also fruit trees, all sorts of things. So they were very, very busy doing all these things, right? Morning to evening they were doing, because now change already. They were very hardworking because they saw the rewards when the crops, came. They could harvest those things, the rewards. So season after season, of course, certain times of the year will be the rainy season or the hot season, right? The different seasons. And of course, they also will learn what sort of season suitable to plant what sort of crops, right? Actually, when there's a will, there's a way, isn't it? You could learn from the books, or you could consult other farmers in the vicinity, the nearby areas, right? Ask people, so you could learn. So they were very successful. And this picture here shows you see, wow, so many types of crops, the harvest, ranging from flowers to vegetables and so on. This is just a picture to show you, they could get so many things, So, you know, certain times of the year, they would harvest certain crops. Some crops probably will require a hotter season, and some will be maybe a cooler period. Various types. So when they harvested all this crop, plentiful of crops, they could bring to the markets to sell. Not far away, could bring, or that will be what we call the middleman. People who will come and will take from them in bulk, a lot. Just as in Cameron Islands, you find the farmers will grow so many types of vegetables, how many hundreds of tons and so on to be sent to other areas for sale. So they will go through a middleman, people who act between the farmers and also the markets or the retail area right? The people who are involved in selling in the markets in the towns. So the middleman, of course, this is common practice. And the middleman will earn some money for their services. So win-win situation, you see. Because it will be difficult for the farmers every time to bring all to the market, then they have their work to do also, isn't it? So they could go through the middleman. So over time, probably years pass, they became very wealthy people. I think of some farmers that have become very, very successful, and they became wealthy. So life was easy for them. They were quite happy also, and very peaceful. No worry about not enough money to spend already. And then also they began to like the work, right? To do the farming and to see the results of their hard labor, which is very important. You must like what you are doing, right? And of course, here they could see the reward. Then they continue the work in the fields that the farmer left them. Not only the field nearest to the home, as I said, there will be probably a few other plots nearby. So imagine, so three of them, right? Some stories use the four sons, so it doesn't matter whether three or four. So, but they were starting all lazy ones. So they had learned a most important life lesson. And what was that life? What is that life lesson? Hard work or diligence is the key to success. After we discuss at greater length the important points. Now, diligence, it means hard work or being industrious. Diligent is the adjective. Hardworking person, a diligent person, or an industrious person. Without this, you cannot get success. So that is the important life lesson. And they learn it the hard way. They learn it. So everything ended well, except that the poor farmer died without being able to see the success that came with the sons all working hard at the various plots. This is a story, a very well-known story. The translation to Malay using the Google Translate, then I edited a bit. So you could actually learn English as well as Malay if you read those sentences. So now we are going to the last slide, which is slide number 12. As I tell you, the most important actually is to learn the lessons. So now let us move on to slide number 12. Before that, I just want to tell you, they are using a different, of course, mostly using the changkul. Actually, this one using the spade. Actually, there are so many other types of gardening tools or farming tools, all right? You can, if you're very interested, you can actually nowadays Google and find out, and also can see what they look like. No space to put all those things. All right, so now let us go on to the last slide. Now I have put 3 sets of moral lessons to learn. You can call them life lessons, or you can also call them Dhamma teachings. Everywhere you have Dhamma. Dhamma is everywhere. Now, these moral lessons or life lessons are very important for us to know, understand clearly, think about them, and practice them. Then you find things change. Your life will become more happy, more peaceful. You won't waste your time away doing foolish things, non-beneficial things, and worse still, you're doing the wrong, unwholesome things that generate bad karma. So that's why moral lessons or Dhamma teachings are very important. They enable you to grow in your wisdom and to lead more meaningful lives and not to waste precious time away as many of the people today, young and old, are doing. Spend hours, doing what? Chit-chatting over the social media, or now so engrossed in the endless TikTok, the TikTok video clips, people send you endless. It's not that you cannot watch the TikTok videos and so on, but do not forget that you have very important things to do also. For example, reading. How many of you do read novels or have enough exercise? Not exercise through a virtual game of badminton or football using your smartphone. Actually going for physical exercise, whether it's football or badminton or cycling and so on. Right? So these are important things for you to bear in mind. And then also do not forget to learn the Dhamma and practice, like helping people, doing charity work. Also, then you are balanced so that later on in life, your mind is filled with joy, peace, wisdom. Right? So I have explained a bit why we need to learn these moral lessons or Dhamma teaching. Now let us look at the first of the 3. Right? Now, you see, all the three lessons are bilingual in the sense that we have the English as well as the Malay. Now, the first of the things is this. We must always be grateful to our parents. We must always help them whenever and wherever we can. And of course, you find that this lesson is very, very important because today, many young people do not practice gratitude or filial piety, being grateful to the parents. They take things for granted. I have seen so many cases, and that is not good because later on, when you become parents, it's cause effect. So you find the same things will happen to you when your children are not grateful, do not offer help. So you see, when you look at the story from the start, you see these three sons were lazy ones, never helped the father. Maybe last time when the mother was around, also probably were not helpful. So you see, it's so important, this gratitude to parents, because parents have contributed so much to your well-being, to bring you up, to give you life actually, right? So without the parents, how could you come, isn't it? And then the parents work so hard to provide you with, food, clothing, education also, and maybe some comfort, entertainment, all those things parents through their work provide you. So don't you think it's only right that we repay their kindness? We repay all the things that they have done for us. But today, many young ones take things for granted and they only know how to complain. Complain, why is it my friend saw got so many pairs of shoes my friend saw got the latest model of the smartphone I don't know what up to what already Apple phone or what iPhone I don't know what model already. So always wanting, but not giving in the sense of dana, right? So it is terrible. So if a person who is really educated, right from young, I've seen also some very, very good, right? Very well brought up. And they are always very grateful, not only to parents, they also grateful to teachers and to people who have helped them. So, this very important lesson that we learn is the gratitude. So, do not wait until a time where it's too late. In this case here, sad to say that they change only after the father passed away. So, you wouldn't want to be like that, isn't it? Then later on, then you regret, you feel remorse, you feel very sad thinking back, when my parents were alive, I did not help them. I was always thinking of myself, and my parents love me so much, always give me all the things, and I never lifted a finger to help. Housework also done by the Indonesian maid or what. So then you find that if you are like that, you have to change. You have to change. From young, you change, and then you find good things happen to you later on. People will like persons who are responsible, who are helpful, right? Who are not selfish, not self-centered, isn't it? So you see, your life will be better when you have the good qualities and you have a good character with all the virtues. I've posted a lot of those qualities that we need to cultivate. And gratitude is very important, mentioned in all religions. So, the ungrateful person, actually, when you are ungrateful, it shows the self-centeredness, the selfishness, right? A person that practices gratitude is always filled with joy, right? Then he cuts the ego and so on. So remember, we can also read the Bahasa Malaysia or Malaya, kita hendaklah sentiasa berterima kasih kepada ibu bapa kita. Kita mesti sentiasa membantu mereka pada bila-bila masa dan di mana sahaja kita boleh. Which means that all the time, right? Anywhere, every place, wherever you can, wherever you can. Before it's too late, isn't it? Even like say, later on you study in another place, right? Your parents elsewhere. Of course, there are still opportunities to show gratitude, like Mother's Day, Father's Day, or their parents' birthday, send them a present or good wishes. So many ways where you can express your thankfulness and your gratitude. This will show your good character, and that is a good deed, right? So this is the first important one. Now let us go on to the second moral lesson that we can learn. Of course, this is the central point, the central moral of the story. We must not be lazy, isn't it? All right, it's stated here is quite obvious. A lazy person will face hardship, suffering, and misery. Hardship, a lot of problems and trouble. Life will be very hard. And then if you don't have enough money, not enough money to buy food, not enough money to, buy clothes, or even to go and see a doctor when it's really necessary, you don't have the money. So you find you need money to spend in a wise way. So there'll be much suffering. I've seen, in certain countries where poor people are suffering a lot. They don't even have a home to stay, right, to live in. They will sleep. Even in New York, I saw the homeless people, at night, so they will just sleep along the pavements, the sidewalks, we call it, and then just, with a piece of cloth, very cold sometimes, a blanket, and then they have just cupboards and so on. So terrible, isn't it? Suffering. We are all very lucky. We have food, we have shelter, and then we also have comfort. All so many things become our blessings. So we should be grateful to parents, teachers, elders, so many people who have helped you, isn't it? Otherwise, your life will be miserable. I've heard of cases also, family friends, where the parents, parents are really whatever, will love their children. So parents will leave behind, actual case, leave behind a lot of money for the sons, usually sons, Chinese people. Daughters get less, terrible. But maybe now it's different. But those days, I find very often it's like that, So there was this young man who also inherited a fortune from the parents. But he was lazy. He didn't want to work. He thought they got a lot of money, isn't he? And the worst thing is when you have a lot of money, you have all sorts of so-called friends coming to mix with you. They're not true friends. They know that you have a lot of money. So this particular person, actual case, right? So he spend the money in foolish ways, drinking, gambling, right? Horse racing, and then going to do all those unwholesome actions, dating so many girls or bringing women out, and then have to spend a lot of money. You read the papers of Joe Low, buying how much, how many presents to give the beautiful actresses and so on. The scandal, I think maybe he got a lot of money through illegal ways or wrong ways. So the money already being spent. So this young person, right? So that was what happened. He was very, very lazy. So a time came where the wealth just went off like that. Very little money left, and he did not maybe study properly also. He thought he got a lot of money, and he thought the money would not finish. You spend so stupidly and lavishly, you finish. Whatever money you put in the bank, the interest is also very little. You continue to spend. So in the end, virtually like bankrupt already. No more money already. And then you imagine the suffering. You have to virtually live a life like a beggar already. You have to depend on other people and so on. So life will be miserable. Great suffering, great hardship. So you find it's very, very terrible, isn't it? Laziness can lead to real suffering. So remember this. The story, of course, emphasizes this point of laziness and how it was overcome through realization, through learning important life lessons. And the father found a way to change, but sad to say, he passed away before we could see the change in the sons. But the sons did change. So remember that kita tidak boleh malas. Orang yang malas akan menghadapi kesusahan, penderitaan, dan kesengsaraan. Very true. You see, number of cases. So, remember this very important lesson. You might think that, the thing is, why is it that some people are lazy, some are hardworking? Various factors. I can tell you, like, for example, why a person is lucky. Sometimes it comes from the past karma, right? But very often also the present conditions. Some are born into very wealthy families, but do not receive proper education. They receive, knowledge about science, geography, and so on, but important moral lessons they don't learn. And then some are spoiled by parents and grandparents, right? And then also some mix with wrong company, so they become lazy. They are caught by what we call Mara forces. Enjoy yourself as much possible. You may die anytime. So don't want to work. And then the habit gets in already. So when the habit gets in, very difficult. The mind is like conditioned. And there are people like that, isn't it? You see that at home is spend most of the time. You think they will help in the home? No. Usually you'll be playing their games, watching excessively the television. Right? So a lot of all those things. And then also playing the games on their iPad or smartphone and so on. So already developing the habit of laziness. It's very dangerous, especially when it is not corrected. It's not changed when you are young. So you grow up to be a person who doesn't like to help, doesn't like to work, always want to do things to please yourself only, right? So become lazy in that case. So you have to know the danger. I have given you one example, and suffering will await you. Right. That brings us to the third thing, which is very, very important. So now let us look at the third life lesson. This involves the quality of diligence. I have done this actually also in a few previous posts also about the qualities that a young person should develop, the young should develop. Recently I did that also. And here, we are actually concerned with the opposite of laziness. The opposite of laziness is diligence, right? Industry, being hardworking, right? And you know very well that success cannot come if a person is not diligent, is not hardworking. Apart from two other qualities, I also mentioned patience and perseverance. Patience, I think you know the meaning. Perseverance means to go on, not to give up easily. After falling, is still getting up and try on and on, which I also gave examples in the previous post. Some people, very easily give up. Very difficult one, I cannot. In a way, quite lazy also to go on. Right? No determination also. So, but anyway, now I want to concentrate on this quality of diligence. Now, diligence is an essential key for success, not only in one field, not only in the worldly life that we lead, but also in Dhamma practice. Now, let's look at two aspects. The first one, in the daily life that we live. If you are a student and you are not diligent, how can you get good results, isn't it? As I was just listening to a Dhamma talk by Ajahn Dhamma Wudo, it mentions so many times you have three types of students. Right? One type, right, very intelligent, from the past karma, very intelligent, but not diligent at all, resorting to stupid ways and going to pray to this angkong, that angkong, everything, to get all A's in the exam, maybe Bombay or what. They are not diligent at all. Superstitious, but actually intelligent person. You think he will get all A's? He probably would not even get one A, might even fail. So you see, then you have the second type, who may not be so intelligent because the past karma did not give him, right, high intelligence, just average only. But he was very, very diligent. He's very, very diligent in the study and so on. So when the results came out, he couldn't get all the 10 A's because he must have another factor, the high intelligence. But he managed to get a few A's, very good also. You see, because of his hard work. And the third type are really blessed. Good karma, born very intelligent. But unlike the first student, still very hardworking, very intelligent, and get all A's. Isn't it? That was the example I heard from Ajahn Dhamma Wudo, the late Ajahn Dhamma Wudo lah. So you must realize this very important thing, right? Success cannot come if there is no hard work. You think the things will fall upon you from heaven, or you pray to the God who give you work. It doesn't happen that way. There is a proverb that says that God helps those who help themselves. That means you must put in the work, the effort, and not just pray. Everybody no need to work and pray only. Cannot, isn't it? But if you really do all your work and you pray in a wise way to settle your mind, right? Maybe you find that you will be clearer in your thinking, right? You pray in your way lah, right? Then you are all right, okay, you can go and pray. But don't forget that the person has been very hardworking also. The key factor. If you don't have that, no amount of praying can help you. If you don't work, right? So this is a very important thing. And you look at the history of science also. I've told you the case of this Thomas Edison, the one that invented the electric bulb. He was very, very diligent, you know. And he had this patience and perseverance. At the time, the electric bulb had not been invented yet. But this Thomas Edison, so he was the inventor. So he tried hundreds of experiments, hundreds of times that the bulb did not work. But he did not give up, you know. He diligently continued. And finally, he discovered the electric bulb. And today, you see, we have all sorts of beautiful lights, all sorts of devices that can give us the light, apart from just the ordinary simple bulb. You have neon lights, you have all those, so many beautiful ones, right? So, very important. And you can see not only in science, but in the field of, let us say, writers and authors, they're so diligent to do their research work, right? And then to write and write. After that, you have to edit the thing, and they come up with bestsellers. You think no need to do research and just you can get all the good things. Or look at the great athletes that who take part in the Olympics game, right? And they break the records and so on. You think they will not be diligent in the training? How many times, how many years they have trained and trained? Otherwise, you cannot, isn't it? So in all fields, and likewise now we come to the point of Dhamma practice. You want to be successful, look at the Buddha's life, which I posted before. How he struggled 6 years with all the ascetic practices, very hard times. But he was diligent practicing. And then after that, found this one could not work. He did not give up. he had perseverance, he had patience, and he changed the methods until finally he became enlightened. Right? So likewise also, if we want to learn meditation, you must be patient and diligent, isn't it? And then also other aspects of Dhamma practice, right? To learn the original teachings, for example, you must be diligent and consistent. And I say, oh, I'm very diligent. 3 weeks already. After that, you become lazy. That's useless. So you see, I have spoken for more than an hour already, and I hope I have conveyed very important Dhamma teachings as well as moral lessons or life lessons in this presentation, which is based on a story called The Farmer and His Sons. So before we conclude, saying sadhu 3 times, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the people who follow this presentation, boys and girls, the students of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes, the parents and grandparents who are guiding the young ones on the good path, and also the teachers of Buddhist Sunday School. I say sadhu to all of you and thank you for taking time to follow this presentation and putting in that very good effort to be patient and also to be concentrated and being mindful in following this. So sadhu and thank you to all of you. So now let us hold our palms and together let us say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All boys and girls, and also parents, grandparents, and the teachers, all who have been following this presentation. May you all be well, happy, peaceful, and may you always continue to learn and practice the Dhamma. Take care.